Hello and welcome to another video, and today I thought we would take the time and talk about my most anticipated 2018 releases. This is going to cover all the systems, all the consoles, and everything. Just what are the games that I'm most anticipated for in 2018, things that have already been announced, and we'll also discuss some things that are rumored and haven't been announced. So we're going to kind of start with the first half of the year releases right now, and then we'll get into more of the speculative end of the year stuff after that. So the first game I'm going to start off with right off the bat is going to be Far Cry 5. I've been looking forward to this game ever since it was announced. I was a huge fan of Far Cry 3. I've actually been a fan of the odd-numbered entries in this series, so 1, 3, and probably now 5. I wasn't a huge fan of 2, and I didn't really care for the setting or the main antagonist in Far Cry 4, but I thought it was an alright game. It just kind of felt like Far Cry 3 again in a different setting. Far Cry 5 looks really incredible. I like the idea that they're doing a story about a religious cult, but it's kind of almost has like a Waco, Texas vibe going on to it, and it's set in America, which is the most important aspect of this game. That's going to stir up a lot of controversy when it comes out. It already has stirred up a lot of controversy. This will be the first Far Cry game that is exclusively developed for the current gen systems. So Far Cry 3 was a last gen game. Far Cry 4 was kind of stuck in between. This is actually going to be the first one that is made for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and these new iterative consoles, PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm going to be playing it on the Xbox One X, and it's coming out March 27th, 2018. And the next game on my list is actually a mid-March release as well, and that's going to be Kirby Star Allies for the Nintendo Switch. I've always been a Kirby fan. I've always enjoyed the Kirby games. I think this one looks like it's going to be another fun Kirby game. It kind of has the same thing going for it as the Yoshi game, which we'll discuss in a minute here. In terms of, it seems kind of like a Super Mario 3D World type game, only with Kirby characters. And I guess you could say the same about the Yoshi game as well, and I'll throw Yoshi in here as well. Both of these games are looking really interesting to me. Kirby looks fantastic. As you guys know, Nintendo has been killing it with the Switch. They killed it last year, and I think they're going to continue to kill it this year. With some other releases as well. Obviously, at E3, they're probably going to talk a lot about Pokemon and what they're doing with Pokemon for the Nintendo Switch, which has me potentially interested in a Pokemon game for the first time in like 10 years. So that's exciting, and I'm also excited to see what other things they have up their sleeve in 2018. But Kirby Star Allies is looking like a very, very good release. That will hit March 16th, 2018. Another big game in 2018, and this could be any time in 2018, but I kind of have a feeling it'll be in the first half of the year, is an actual game I picked as my most anticipated game of 2018 when we did that category as part of Game of the Year last year. That is, of course, Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. This is from the creator of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'm not going to butcher his name because I will do a terrible job at it. However, he has made fantastic Castlevania games in the past. This looks to be a spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and it also has full co-op, and that's something that really intrigues me. Really looking forward to this game. I think the art style is absolutely gorgeous. I literally cannot wait for this game. Symphony of the Night, as you guys know, is a game that I play through probably once or twice every single year. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm really hoping that Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night delivers in 2018. Next up on my list is actually a surprise announcement from recently. It's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time and crossing my fingers and hoping, please let this be real. It's been rumored for a very, very long time, and I was happy to see that it's actually going to happen. That is, of course, Dark Souls Remastered. The original Dark Souls is my favorite of all of the Souls games, and even including Bloodborne and Demon Souls as well. It's a phenomenal game. It was the game that got me into that style of game, and I don't think any of the other releases, with maybe the exception of Bloodborne, have come close to capturing the magic of the original Dark Souls for me. It was a game that I was just incredibly engrossed in for an entire month. It's all I did for an entire month was play Dark Souls, and I cannot wait for this remaster. If you've played Dark Souls, you know that it doesn't have a good frame rate anywhere you play it. Yes, you can fix it on the PC version, but the PC port of the game was incredibly broken, and it required the community to basically fix it, and even the fixes don't work for everyone. I could never get the fixes to work on any machine that I tried to run it on PC, and I just kind of gave up. But I've always had a dream of seeing Blighttown at 60 frames per second, and it sounds like I'm actually going to get that. The other shocking and surprising announcement about this Dark Souls remaster is that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. May 25th, 2018, this game will be released for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. And I'm a crazy person who's going to get it for both PS4 and Nintendo Switch, because I really want that game portably, but I also need to see Blighttown at 60 frames. Now, the developers have already commented that the Nintendo Switch version is going to run at 1080p 30 frames when docked and 720p 30 frames when in portable mode. And I still think it's really cool that this game is going to come out on the Nintendo Switch, and I want a portable version. I want to own a copy of Dark Souls for a Nintendo platform. I think that's incredible that it's happening. However, I also want to play that game on one of the Big Brother consoles that will run the game at optimal settings, and I've always liked the DualShock controller, especially the DualShock 4 controller for Dark Souls, so that'll be my primary place to play this. Anyways, you guys can pick this game up May 25th, 2018. It's a big Memorial Day weekend present for everyone. Next on the list is a rumored spring 2018 release. However, I don't know if it's actually going to hit in spring. I'm guessing it's probably going to be summer now. That is Detroit Become Human. I've been fascinated with this game since it was originally announced. I was a huge fan of some of the other David Cage games, including Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, and I think this looks to expand upon the ideas that were brought forth in those two games, and it's going to be harnessed by the power of the PS4. And I've always said that when a developer focuses on one system, they can really make a truly incredible experience rather than having to cater to all these different systems and settings and everything. That's why you get great games like Horizon Zero Dawn and so forth. So I think Detroit Become Human is looking excellent. It seems like it's going to deal with some pretty heavy subject matter, and that's what these games are known for. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's supposed to be out sometime spring 2018. Speaking of PS4 releases, I'm going to throw this in here. It's not really an anticipated, I wouldn't say it's one of my most anticipated releases, however, I will play it. That is the God of War reboot for PS4, which is coming out April 20th, 2018. I don't have an affinity for the God of War franchise. I really like the original God of War. I enjoyed the trilogy as a whole, and then after that I kind of fell off of it. I tried playing Ascension. I thought that game was really bad. I played some of the PSP stuff, didn't really get into that there, and I've kind of fell off the God of War franchise. It's looking very interesting. I still have my problems with taking that franchise and humanizing the character of Kratos a little bit by having him have a kid. It kind of gives to me off almost the Last of Us type vibe with its story. I'm not really sure, but the game is looking incredible visually. I'm glad it has a release date. I will be playing it. I will do a review on the channel of the game. However, it's not one of my most anticipated games of 2018, but I thought I would throw it in here anyway. Well, let's get into some speculative stuff, and let's get into the later releases of 2018. First one I want to talk about, my other most anticipated game of 2018, of course, is Dragon Quest XI. Now, Dragon Quest XI is looking absolutely incredible. I think the game looks phenomenal visually. I'm really excited to have a new proper Dragon Quest game. You know, we've had all these offshoots and different games in the last couple years with the Dragon Quest Heroes and the Dragon Quest Builders franchises, respectively. They've both been really good, but I've been dying for a proper Dragon Quest RPG, and we're getting it in 2018 here in the United States. Now, Dragon Quest XI is looking great visually. The important thing to note is that this game is coming to the PS4 and also the Nintendo 3DS. It's kind of a down make, if you will, of everything graphically, but it's going to be the same game. Now, for me personally, I'm going to play this game on the PS4. I'm really looking forward to it. If I could make a prediction on when it comes out, I think it comes out in June or July of this year. It seems like that is the right time for Sony to put out a release an RPG release of that. And you have to also remember in March we're getting Ni no Kuni 2, which is their kind of big spring RPG, which also looks good as well. But for me, Dragon Quest XI, it's looking just utterly phenomenal. I cannot wait for this game. It's a real close second to Bloodstained as my most anticipated game of 2018. So really looking forward to that game. I'm thinking June, July of 2018 is when we'll see that game. The Spider-Man game for PS4. I have hope for this game. I think it's looking really good visually. It's looking pretty incredible. I'm glad that we're going to get a big superhero game that's focused on one platform. As I said earlier, I think when developers focus on one single platform, they can really throw all the bells and whistles in a game that they can't when they have to focus on developing for multiple platforms. And my only fear with the Spider-Man game is it's going to rely too much on the Rocksteady Batman combat that has kind of been established as superhero combat for superhero games. Now, I could be wrong, but going off of the E3 trailer and everything we've seen from last year on this game, it looks like that's what they're doing for their combat. This has me a little concerned because it's not necessarily an original idea. However, swinging around the city as Spider-Man is going to be incredibly fun, and it looks like they're taking the best elements of Spider-Man 2, which is the best Spider-Man game of all time, and putting it into this game. That game is coming out sometime in 2018. If I had to put money on when it's going to come out, I'd say August, September, but that's my guess. Last game I want to talk about that has a release date announced as of a couple days ago is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 was originally planned for a fall 2017 release. It got delayed till spring 2018. Rockstar just came out the other day and put out, hey, this game's coming out October 26, 2018. There you go. So there's your release date for Red Dead Redemption 2. Not much else really needs to be said about the game. It's looking incredible. The screenshots they keep putting out of the game are really jaw-dropping, and it seems like it's a game that's really going to take and harness the power of these iterative consoles in the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. However, the other thing that's important to note is this is the first Rockstar game that has been built for the ground up for these new systems. You know, Grand Theft Auto 5, as good as it is on Xbox One and PS4, was a port of a 360 PS3 game. This is a game built from the ground up for these machines, made by Rockstar. You know, the best in the business when it comes to open world stuff. I think it's going to be great. I love the original Red Dead Redemption and even Red Dead Revolver, and I cannot wait for this game. So now it's time to get into speculative territory. Here are things that we can talk about that maybe are going to come out in 2018, but we don't know at this time. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the remakes that have been announced. Obviously, you guys know on my channel, a game that I bitch about constantly is the Resident Evil 2 remake, and I bitch about it for obvious reasons. It was announced in December of 2015, and then nothing. We've heard nothing about this game. There's been rumors and speculation, and people have rumored what the game's actually going to look like, how it's going to play. Current rumors right now is it's going to be an over-the-shoulder style camera, similar to Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 in the Revelation series. And the other rumor now is that they're actually cutting out Hunk's storyline from the game, which is kind of disappointing. So the rumor is that they're cutting it out and they're going to add it as DLC content later. I think that's kind of a bummer considering it was something that was in the original game for free and an unlockable, but it's 2018. This is the kind of stuff you have to expect in video games. Other rumors going around the game is that it will release in the fall of 2018, and there will be an announcement very, very soon about it. Again, it's a rumor. I'm not holding my breath on it because I've seen how this has gone this entire time. I'm really excited about it though. Resident Evil 2, phenomenal game. It's not my favorite Resident Evil. Obviously, my favorite of all time is the original, but 2 is a very, very good game, and I'm really looking forward to a remake of it, you know, and if this leads to remaking 3, then that's really cool. So hopefully it does well when it does finally come out. Hopefully you hear some information soon. I feel like this will be an announcement at E3 this year. And, you know, if we're talking about remakes, it behoove me not to mention the Final Fantasy VII remake. Now, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's kind of in the same boat as the Resident Evil 2 Remake. It was announced at E3 2015. They showed off a gorgeous CG trailer and just said it's happening. We saw a little bit of early alpha footage of the game in December of 2015 at PlayStation Experience, and we've seen nothing since. We've seen some concept art, and that's it. Then there were the rumors going around that it's going to be an episodic release, and nobody really wants that. Now we've heard nothing for, I'd say, probably a year and a half of solid, concrete evidence to support that it will be episodic or it will be a full release game. My hope is that they had an idea to make it episodic and they decided, let's not do that, and that's why the game's taking this long. But considering we just passed the 21st anniversary of this game and there was no information, I think it's an E3 announcement this year. I think you get your E3 announcement, and I think they will announce a date for it, and that's when you'll get it, and it will finally release, and there'll be a big trailer about it. Now, personally, Final Fantasy VII, one of my favorite RPGs of all time. However, I love the combat of that game, and I'm disappointed that they're going with a different combat system for this remake. I understand the reasons for doing that in 2018, I get it. However, I would have been happier if they would have just left the combat system the way it was. We'll see what that game is when they show more of it. I'm hoping and predicting they'll show it at E3, but we'll see. Hopefully that's a 2018 release. Another big speculative one is Rocksteady. What is Rocksteady doing now since they wrapped production and released Batman Arkham Knight in 2015? There's been nothing from Rocksteady. There's been rumors circulating. They've kind of come out and squashed every rumor. For a long time there was a rumor about a Damian Wayne Batman game. That's not going to happen because common folk don't know who Damian Wayne is, so that doesn't make sense to make a Batman game about him. There was the other rumors of they were making a Justice League game. Obviously that's not the case because the Justice League movie has come and gone. I don't see that happening. There were rumors of a Golden Age Batman game, and then of course rumors of a Superman game, which I would love if they made a Superman game, but we don't know. There's no information on what their next game is. The only thing they've ever said is that they were done making Batman games for a while, so I kind of feel like a Justice League or a Golden Age Batman game doesn't make sense if they've said they don't want to make another Batman game at this time. My money is on Superman. I think it's Superman's time. I think Superman is a character that honestly has never really had a very good video game. There's the infamous Superman 64 game that is awful. There is Superman Returns for 360 and PS3 that's not a very good game, but it had some interesting flying mechanics, but we have never really got a good Superman game. So, and I think if there's any studio out there that could make a good Superman game, it's Rocksteady. So I expect this E3 is the year that we're going to get an announcement from Rocksteady on what their next project is, what they're working on. Whether or not it's going to come out in 2018, I don't think so. If anything, it will be announced for a 2018 release, but then it will be pushed to 2019. However, this E3, they're going to have to talk about it. It's been 3 years since Batman Arkham Knights. They're going to have to talk about it. Finally, let's talk about some of the other big E3s, past E3 into fall 2018 releases. Now, obviously, there are some rumors circulating around right now that Microsoft is looking to reboot Perfect Dark, which I would be incredibly happy about. I love the original Perfect Dark from the Nintendo 64, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. Perfect Dark Zero was not a great game for the 360. However, I enjoyed it at the time that it released because it was a launch game. There wasn't much else to play. And I played a lot of that multiplayer. I don't know how, but I did. And the rumor circulating right now is that they are looking to reboot the character of Joanna Dark into a third-person action adventure. And I would really personally love this. I think that's a very interesting and intriguing character. And if you look at Microsoft's game portfolio, they have the shooter genre covered and they have the racing genre covered. They need to fill this gap of third-person action adventure. You know, Sony is running away with that genre right now, and for Microsoft, all they've kind of done is done some weird exclusivity deals with other developers. You know, they did Sunset Overdrive one year, which was an exclusivity deal with Insomniac Games for that game, and then they kind of did all that bullshit with Tomb Raider, with Rise of the Tomb Raider back in 2015. Obviously, that's a game that came to other platforms eventually, but they need to have their own first-party, third-person action adventure. And it can't be something like Super Lucky's Tale. It has to be something that people could potentially really give a shit about. And a new Perfect Dark game that's a third-person action adventure could really be that. I really strongly believe that. So I think that's going to be a big game if announced. Again, it's a big rumor. We don't know if it's happening, but it could. Obviously, the other big rumor going around right now is that Playground Games, the maker of the Forza Horizon franchise, is making a Fable game. Now, the important thing to note about Fable is that even though Lionhead Studios closed down a couple years ago and they canceled Fable Legends, there hasn't been a main entry in the Fable series since Fable 3 back in 2010. And we're not counting Fable The Journey. That was their Kinect disaster piece that didn't work out. and they haven't released a new Fable game. They shut down Lionhead Studios. However, it's important to remember that Microsoft owns the rights to the Fable franchise, and they can do whatever they want with Fable. And giving it to somebody who's already done a really good job making an open world franchise in the Forza Horizon games makes a lot of sense to give them a potential Fable game to work on. And it's already been proven that they've staffed up, and they're currently working on something big that's open world with 200 plus people on staff. It's got to be Fable. All the rumors circulating are saying that it's a new Fable game. I believe it will be announced at E3 this year. It's not a 2018 game. I bet you it's a fall 2019 game. However, this would be something that would garnish a lot of attention. A lot of people love Fable. I really personally enjoyed Fable 1 and Fable 2. They're fun action RPGs, and I think that Microsoft, again, needs an action RPG in their portfolio because they don't have that right now. And Fable makes a lot of sense. It seems like it's the right time to bring that franchise back. Then finally, we'll talk about the big Microsoft elephant in the room right now, and that is Halo. What is the state of affairs with Halo in 2018? You know, Halo 5, not very well received by a lot of people. Me personally, being a huge Halo fan, I love Halo. It's one of my favorite game franchises of all time. Halo 5 massively dropped the ball in terms of its story. And you have to salvage that sinking ship with Halo 5's story. It was bad. A lot of the things that they did, you know, I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but the things that they did with Cortana were very disappointing. They tried to create a new character in Spartan Locke, but then the game was 80% you playing as him and only 20% playing as Master Chief. And as I've said before, when I play a Halo game, I only want to play as Master Chief if it's a mainline Halo game. If it's an offshoot like ODST or Halo Wars, I don't really care. But in Halo, I want to play as Master Chief, not some other guy. And that was one of the biggest downfalls of Halo 5, other than a lot of its story was nonsensical. The other thing that was potentially interesting about Halo 5 was its marketing campaign promised a big showdown between these two characters and Chief kind of going rogue, and that's not the story we really got in Halo 5. It just became a nonsensical story of kind of bullshit, if we're being honest, that ends with essentially another Halo ring existing. So what is Halo 6? I don't know. If I'm a betting person, I would say that Halo 6 is going to be a 4-player cooperative game where one person plays as Chief, one person plays as Locke, one's Arby, and the final person, I don't know, maybe we throw in Buck in there because he's a cool character and I like Nathan Fillion. So I don't know. I think E3 2018 is when you will see information about Halo 6 or whatever we're calling Halo 6, but I don't think it's a 2018 game. They've kind of come out and said that it's going to be a while till we get the next Halo game because they've really gone back to the drawing board. There's been other rumors out there that they're going to be implementing a 100-person battle royale mode to this game. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it would be cool, but in the next couple of years, you're going to see the trend of Battle Royale becoming a huge thing because of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite Battle Royale. Those two games are really killing it right now with, you know, player bases and numbers, and every company's going to try and make this kind of game, and I really feel like that could potentially be a thing for Halo 6, but I think E3, you get announcement of Halo 6, you get a trailer, but I don't think it's a 2018 game. If it is, that's very surprising to me because we've seen nothing. You know, and history shows us that every time a Halo game is announced, it's usually announced a year before the next E3, and then we have, you know, the E3 leading up to its fall release. That hasn't happened yet, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping Halo 6 does something interesting story-wise. That being said, while I rag on Halo 5's story, its multiplayer is incredible and easily the best since Halo 3. So if they can just take the best parts of that and then take the best parts of Halo 4's story and mix those together, you have a fantastic Halo 6. And those are going to be my most anticipated games of 2018. Now, obviously, there's things that haven't even been announced yet, things we don't even know about and everything, but I thought it would be fun to go at the beginning of the year and do a video like this and then revisit this topic after E3 and see, you know, what's been announced, what's not been announced, what's not coming out in 2018, and everything. I'd love to know what your most anticipated games of 2018 are. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, until next time.